Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Living Lives. Today, I'm really excited to have somebody I met a long time ago, actually, on a cruise, join me. And I know a number of you who are going to tune in are fans of hers as well. And I'm welcoming Dixie Longate. She hails from Mobile, Alabama, where she lives with her 3 kids, who she's almost sometimes ever proud of. Winona, Dwayne, and Absorbing Jr. She started selling Tupperware as part of the conditions of her parole back in 2001. And within a few years, she became the top selling Tupperware sales representative in the US. And when a friend of hers told her she should turn her living room party into a theatrical show, she laughed so hard at the idea, she almost had to put down her drink. So Dixie's Tupperware Party soon opened off-Broadway in 2007, which was shortly after I had met her, to both raving fans and rave reviews. The show earned Dixie a Drama Desk Award nomination for Outstanding Solo Performance. She lost to Lawrence Fishburne. Really, just look it up. The following year, with plastic bowls in hand, she embarked on a small tour to some theaters in the US. 12 years later, that tour was still running and had become one of the longest running off-Broadway tours in history. COVID put a halt to the live shows for the time being, which meant Dixie had to go back to her trailer in Mobile to spend time with her kids 24/7. And it was while she was mixing a cocktail in the baby's room one morning that she thought, just because I can't be on stage in front of people doesn't mean I can't be on stage not in front of people, but with people watching anyway. And a new show was born. Dixie's Happy Hour is her 3rd major show from America's 6th favorite redhead. Her 2nd show, Never Wear a Tube Top While Riding a Mechanical Bull, and 16 Other Things I Learned While I Was Drinking Last Thursday, was originally produced by the Denver Center for the Performing Arts, which Dixie discovered is really hard to say after 8 alcoholic Shirley Temples. She has now ridden that bull all over this great country and looks forward to mounting it again when this whole crazy period in our lives is behind us. In the meantime, she wanted to give everyone a big hug, even though she can't do that in real life. And you'll find that hug in Dixie's Happy Hour. So I'd like to welcome to the show, Miss Dixie Longate.
Hey, sweet
Hello.
Angel, how's everything?
Everything's fine. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm better for your asking. Aren't you so sweet? Lord, I can't even believe it's been a whole year since everything shut down. So it's been quite an adventure. It's been quite I mean, for everybody, not just for me, but for everybody. So, I do my best to keep in touch with everybody, and I was drinking all the time. So I figured I might as well do it on screen like this kind of thing. So it's been fun. And the nice thing is when I'm drinking all this time and then I'm putting it online and doing live videos and stuff, the nice thing is my alcoholism is tax deductible. So that's a really good thing. So I can write off everything that I bought that I put in my mouth, which not even strippers can say that.
Yeah, and I've started following you again this past year with all the Facebook Lives you've been doing, like your Motivational Mondays on Wednesdays and your Tupperware Tuesdays on Thursdays sometimes. But it's always been, the part that I really like about what you're doing is you're helping us connect with each other. And my show is all about connections, and my branding is is adventures and connections. So connection is what I'm really all about. And the fact that you have this great way of bringing some humor into those connections and helping people to realize that there's an easy way that they can still connect has meant a lot to me in following you in this past year.
I appreciate that. I think one thing that is so interesting is, I mean, look, if this whole thing had happened like 10 years ago, we would be in such a different place with it. But we have this amazing technology now that enables us to all be together. And that has really, I think, made this whole thing, it's connected. It's gotten a lot of people getting the wrong information out, which is the dark side of the problem. But the good thing is it's been able to make people connect in ways and keep themselves sane in ways that they never would have known before. And I think that's very important. The thing that I always kind of go back to, I think a lot of people, with all the stress and strain that's going on with everybody, what I think people don't give themselves enough credit for is we have been asked as a whole species, everybody has been affected by this, the whole world. And I think it's been kind of remarkable that But even though the rug has been pulled out from in everybody, we've all been forced to adapt, and we have. I think that really shows the resilience of the American spirit, and I mean the spirit of everybody. But like we've been able to kind of take everything and be like, okay, well, this is our new world now, so let's figure it out. And I think people don't give themselves enough credit for how much they and how easily, well, fast, quickly they've been able to adapt. And I don't think we pat ourselves enough on the back for that. And I think that's valuable to remember that every once in a while. So it's that connection, like you're talking about, that I think is so valuable to be able to connect with people and just say, remember, you're good people. You got a hero inside of you. You know, like Mariah Carey said, there's a hero in you. You know, she was talking about a different kind of hero. Like one time I had a friend that was like drunk at this one place behind the dumpster, and she was like, there's a hero in me. And that's because he was like a 6 foot tall Greek guy, and his name was Hero. So that hero was there. In general, even if you don't know anybody Greek, there's still like a hero in you. Just everybody needs to remember that bit themselves.
Well, I want to share my screen here so you can see when we first met. I got a picture with you.
Oh, my Lord and Savior. I swear to God, my mouth is open so big in so many pictures. I swear, my whole head you can unhinge my jaw, and my whole head flips back like a Muppet. You can put damn near anything in there.
This was on an Atlantis cruise in the Mediterranean in 2006.
Isn't that amazing? Holy crap.
I met you and Charo that cruise.
Charo. Oh my God. Charo was on that cruise. It was the funniest thing because I had been up. So we were on it's going on Santorini Island. And for the people that are viewing that don't know, Santorini is one of those beautiful Greek islands. Like, if you ever seen see a picture from Greece with on one of the islands and all the buildings are white up the side of the cliff, that is Santorini Island. It's so gorgeous. And but there are two ways to get up there. You can take one of them cable cars that goes up the side of the mountain, or you can get on a donkey and ride up this never-ending zigzag winding cobblestone, like straight, like it's all mud and poop and everything. And we were right behind. There was a group of us, and we were right behind Chara, and she was sitting, I swear to God, side saddle on that damn donkey. And the whole way up, and it is about an hour's journey. And the whole way up, she's like, oh, and I was like, oh, she was having the time of her life, baking, melting in the sun, and that damn thing pooping. Oh, that not Charo. Charo wasn't pooping; she held it in. But the donkey who was on poop the entire time. Oh, it was the most hilarious thing, and everybody's like trying to get pictures made with her, and she just was like, it's like watching a parade float being filled up on its way up into the sky. It's just something I'll never forget it.
Yeah, I had gone to the volcano in the morning, so by the time I got to over to go into the town, the cable car was working again. But on the way back down, there was a huge long line to get on the cable car, and Charo was in the middle of it. And my friend Dennis and I went over, and we just wanted to say, that we had enjoyed her show the night before. And she's like, "Oh, cousin Ernesto," and she grabs me and pulls me into line. And the people behind me were like, "Oh my God, he's cutting in line." And then when they realized it was Charo that was in front of them, they were happy and wanted to join our cruise. And Dennis and I smiled and said, "Well, we're not quite sure you really want to join our cruise." But
I love that she just broke you in line by calling you her cousin for no reason. That is the thing about Charo. Charo is, if you ever get the chance to meet her, if any of your guests ever meet her, she is the most hilarious, most genuine, most fun, fantastic woman, and talented as all get out. What a lot of people don't know is she was the #1 flamenco guitarist in the world. And I think people just remember her for the Coochie Coo and everything, but her talent, her skills. I mean, I have friends who can do things with their fingers, but nowhere near what she can do.
She said she practices 2 hours a day.
Isn't that crazy? I practice some things 2 hours a day, but they're not the guitar, but it's about the same.
Yeah, that was my first cruise, so that was a fun time getting to meet all you lovely people. And so you've got a new show.
I do. Well, it's running right now.
It's running now.
I had started, everybody kind of got sideswiped in March of last year. And I was doing this show, like you said in your introduction. I had been on the road for 12 years with my show, Dixie's Tupperware Party. And then all of a sudden, bam, it was over. Like everything stopped. So all of our bookings got pushed back, and then canceled. And so I was home and I was with my kids. Ugh. And then I was like, oh God, what am I supposed to do? Because then you got to like learn them. Then they come home, they knock on the door. They're like, oh, we don't got school no more. I'm like, don't you think they would have sent a note? I know what you kids are trying to do. And they're like, oh, we got a note. And I'm like, all right, slide it under the door. And they did. And I read it. And it was like, the principal was like, yeah, we haven't got school. And I was like, oh, that's inconvenient for those of us who pretend to care about our kids. And so I had to like learn them everything, like fractions and like how to go on the ground and stay there all day while mama's got guests coming over to do things, in the bedroom. But switching out the cable or whatever. I don't know what they call it. But it's been an interesting year. And so I was on the computer just drinking with friends because I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm not supposed to get together with everybody. So I was just having cocktail hours on the computer like so many other people were, And then I said, I could probably turn this into a show. And I was doing these lives like you talk about. I go live several times a week on my face page and just talk to people, engage with people and talk about, like I do a motivational Monday. When I roll around, it might be Tuesday, it might be Wednesday. I'm real busy, And then I'll do like my Tupper Tuesday and I make cocktails online. I do different things. And it's just to keep people smiling and engaged. And then I thought, well, wait a minute, what if I put this together as a program? Because so many people were coming and watching the live things I was doing. I was like, well, maybe I put it together as a program and do it so it benefits the theaters. Because, all the theaters have to have their door closed. And I've been lucky enough to be in these theaters all over the country for so many years that all of these people have become friends of mine. And, with them closed, they don't have any money coming in. They don't have any tickets to sell for anything. So a lot of the people that work there were being laid off and furloughed. And these are people that I really care about. So I thought, well, what can I do to kind of give back? And so I came up with this show. I called all these theaters that I'd worked in previously. And I said, look, if I came up with something, would you be willing to sell the tickets to it? And if we stream it through your art center, and then y'all get like the majority of the ticket money. So it's a fundraiser. So it goes to making money that you need to kind of fill your coffers until you can open your doors again for live entertainment. And everybody was just unanimously jumping on board. And I had so much fun. I put it together and then got it out and started in the end of January. Different theaters started streaming it, and it's just been streaming consistently through different theaters. Like some theaters will do like a week, a couple shows. Some will do a couple weeks. They'll stream it to their audiences, and then, like I said, the money goes to the art centers to be able to help them put some money back in their coffers, which makes me feel good, and it's good because it gives people, entertainment. It's the closest thing to live entertainment that we can do right now in many cases. So it was my best attempt at what I could do to make people smile. So it's still running right now. We got a couple theaters that are doing it right now. We got a couple theaters coming up in the next coming weeks. So it's just been, it's been a fun labor of love until I can get back on the road like I used to be and get away from these kids. Lord, you can only.
Oops. It was supposed to just be one, but that's the show. I'm still learning this StreamYard thing. I was hoping to just get the one picture up there, but
I understand, honey. I like there's coming. I don't get how any of them work.
I think I know what I did wrong. Here we go. There we go.
Look at you.
So
out.
And I have to tell you, my friend Pam is watching us live right now, and we watched your show together, and it's fantastic that you do talk about the four main food groups.
Of course, very important. Rum, gin, vodka, and tequila.
Yeah, but you also talk about life and the connections that you had with your mom and your Mima, and the stories. And stories are really important. Our stories are really important in life, and they're what help connect us to each other. And if we listen to other people's stories, we make a lot of good connections. And you had one of the stories you talked about was your Wonder Woman story with the cape that you're from the Afghan that your Mima had made, and you also talked about that in one of your other little weekly podcasts. And I posted that was a really good one, and I've shared it. And one of my dear friends who's in her 70s texted me the next day that she says, I just finished running around the house in my with my cape on.
I love that.
So it's, it brought back a lot of memories for her, and she just felt the power of being the superhero, and the fact that you could, lift people up like that is just wonderful in
Oh,
what you do.
well, you
So.
gotta have us make a picture of that and send it to me, because I would love to see that, and I'd love to share that with people if that's all right. I think that, yeah. And so for people that don't know, so when you was young, everybody had a superhero that they loved. Everybody had a superhero that they connected with, and I was always a fan of Wonder Woman. I always thought that. First of all, I thought Lynn Carter was absolutely gorgeous, and then she would run around, she'd fight crime, and she was always so good about it, and she always had this pure heart when she did it, And I love they're doing that same thing in the movies now, that they're, it is this thing about finding the true hero, and that hero that finds the good in people and tries to correct the wrongs and make things right. And when I was little, my Mima had this Afghan that she got, and I used to, when I'd go over to visit her, I put that on as my cape, and I'd run around in the backyard as Wonder Woman. And I just, when my Mima passed away, she left me that Afghan. To this day, I have that Afghan. And every once in a while, I think it makes so much sense to grab your Afghan, grab your cape, grab whatever you want to, tie it around your neck and run around for a little bit, because it inspires you. It makes you feel good. I mean, you hear all these people talking in the psychology circles about, taking a superhero pose for 2 minutes does real good for you. For your mental health, and like just jumping up and down and changing things. In my second show, Never Wear a Tip Top while riding a mechanical bull, and 16 other things I learned while I was drinking last Thursday, I talk about a thing I call the 60-second honky tonk. If you're ever feeling down, if anything's going wrong, put 60 seconds of honky tonk music on and just dance around. Stop whatever you're doing and dance around, and it totally changes everything about your mood. And I think we undervalue how great that is. Every once in a while, go back to the things we did when we was kids, and do them now that you're an adult, because you get a whole lot more fun out of it now, because it informs you in a whole different way, because you got all these life experiences behind you. When you're a kid, you're only a couple years old, and you run around, and it's just fun, and nothing really matters. But when you're an adult and you can put your cape on, it gives you a sense of security and a sense of certainty about taking on the future. And so that's why I always love that. And when I hear people have seen the show and they put their cape on and run around, it just fills my heart.
Well, I'll see if Jan will let me take a picture of her with her cape on and send it to you.
Love that.
Yeah, because she was all excited when she sent me the text. So it was, I wanted to pass that along. That you're inspiring lots of people with your upbeat message and everything you've been doing this year. So it's a pleasure to have met you, and to be able to count you as someone that I'm. One of my friends and somebody I follow a lot. So it's fantastic. And so what I'll do is I'll put in the chat. Well, anybody, it's dixieshappyhour.com is where you can get tickets to her show, and you don't want to miss out. And I have to say, Pam and I were both crying at the end, tears of joy. I don't want to give away the story, but the story with your mom and your Mima, and the books. So it's fantastic and uplifting, and we were just blown away at the end. And so
and that's what I love about the show is, on its face, everybody's going to think, oh, it's a happy hour, we're going to get together and drink. But what it really is about finding the happy hours that are right in front of you that you might otherwise be missing. So many people, especially right now, people are so, they don't know where to look for the happiness, because everything is so different and so confusing to people, and everybody's had to make such an abrupt change that I just want to remind people, there is real happiness out there. There is real, you have time to be able to do things that make you joyous. And, people always said, well, someday when I have the time, I will do this, that, and the other thing. Well, all right, well, you got the time now. I mean,
right.
It's an opportunity to hit pause for a minute and then go, all right, well, what am I going to do? This is a new life. A lot of people, people have been out of work, working from home and everything. And I'm like, okay, well, in many cases, you're not going back. There's no going back to the way things were. So take this opportunity and go, all right, well, what do I want out of this life? Because life is short. You only get so much time. And boy, have we seen that in spades over this last year. So it's like take an opportunity to go, what do I want out of this life? What am I willing to invest my time doing that'll make myself happier, but also share happiness around me? Because when you are, when you put yourself in a good mood, when you put happiness in you, you get happiness that goes out around you. And so that's what my show is all about finding those happy hours that you might otherwise be missing. Sometimes they're from drinking, obviously, but
Cheers.
Hugger. I got myself a little tiki mug right here, which is so sweet. I know, because sometimes you got to have a rum for breakfast.
Well, I have to admit, mine's just tea, but
well, that's all right. You'll check more in later on in the day.
Yeah, I'll make up for that later. So,
perfect.
So it's been great having you on today, and I'm just thrilled that you were able to join me, and we were able to talk about your show and some of the connections that we've made together. You, me, Charo, and
the best connections you can have are with Charo. I swear.
I wanted to go see her in Vegas, but she wasn't there when I was there. So I'm wondering if she'd still remember who Cousin Ernesto is. I bet you she would.
You know what? Something tells me it was something that weird and specific. She probably remember it.
Yeah, so that was a while ago, though. We're talking 2006. So
that's all right.
Anyway, it's
next time you see her, go up, give her a big old hug. A socially distant hug right now, but when you see her, give her a hug. Yeah, she's one of those people that will remember adventures. That's who she's always been.
Yeah. So thank you so much for joining me, and
thank you for having me.
So hang out for a second in the green room while I just wrap up the show, and I'll be right back to you.
Absolutely.
Okay, everybody, thanks for joining. I want to just talk about a couple of my upcoming guests. I'm not quite sure exactly what Tuesday they're going to be on, but I have Pleasant Despain joining me. I'm hoping that's going to be next Tuesday. He's a master storyteller and quite an interesting man. And he has a book out now called Vagabond Tales in Search of Light and Life. It's a great book. I'm looking forward to getting into that. I just picked it up over the weekend. And now the other thing I have coming up is my buddy Freddie Freeman is going to be doing an album release on May 1st. So I know he's joining me on the 27th to maybe play some of the music and talk about the album. So thank you so much for joining me. And I encourage you all to go out, make a connection, and live your best lives.